Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tabs on Tap. I am Tabitha Hassell. Hope you guys all had a really good weekend. Obviously, we are off to a great start this morning. I mean, I didn't we saw it coming, didn't we? I think all of us knew collectively that Biden was going to step down. Is there anyone who didn't think so? I mean, I don't think so. There's still so much up in the air, with Joe Biden stepping down. I think it's going to be a very interesting week to see how things play out. Let's say that. We all knew he was going to step down. There's going to be questions raised. Okay, so he's not fit to run in the 2024 campaign. Is he going to be fit to run this country until, what is it, January 20th? Is he? No. Was he fit to run this country to begin with? Absolutely not. Of course, Democrats don't see it that way. I think most of us know that I think most of us know that he was never running the show. And I don't know if any of you have had an opportunity to see Harris's new ad. She has a new campaign ad that says, "Oh, she's been the one running the show," because obviously he's not fit. So she's really been the one behind the scenes. I have always heard from day one that Kamala Harris is nothing but an email pusher. They brought her in. I think we all know why. They brought her in to get the votes of the Black community, of the female Democrats, and special interest groups, of course. That's what it's always about. But she really probably didn't do a whole lot of anything. But she does know where the skeletons are. So, of course, Joe Biden came out. He strangely enough, did not did not publicly make a statement. He put it, where was his first statement? I believe it was on X. And he said he would be stepping down. Then he kind of added in matter of factly that he endorses Harris. Well, she's not gotten endorsements from probably some of the primary people that matter: Obama, Schumer, Pelosi. We're going to go through the endorsements. I actually have a list of every single Democrat who has endorsed or not endorsed Kamala Harris. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to go through that list today. Some of the other things we're going to be talking about outside of Biden Harris, I want to talk about campaign laws. There's a lot that's going on, and I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into campaign laws because I think it's not as cut and dry as most people think that it is. A lot of people are saying, and people are, coming on my Facebook page and texting me and calling me and saying, "Oh, Harris is in the bag. Democrats cannot have another nominee. There's no one else who can be added. They have no choice." You have no idea what's in store for us over the coming weeks. I mean, the Democrat National, their convention is on August the 19th through the 22nd, I believe. And there's a lot that can happen between now and then. So I definitely want to get into that. I want to talk about military drills. There's military drills that were taking place right here in the St. Louis area, elsewhere across the country with our National Guard. There's a lot of speculation as to what that's about. A lot of people who claim they spoke to some of the National Guard members and got a little bit of a different idea than what we are supposed to see. Jay says her own staff has said she is unprepared and doesn't even read the daily briefings. Why should she read the daily briefings? I mean, she probably doesn't do anything. I mean, we don't see her in the public. Even Mike Pence was more vocal. We saw him more. He had different various engagements. I Outside of Kamala cackling here and there, I haven't heard whole lot of anything from her. They've kept her in the back seat for sure. So I definitely want to talk about all of that because, Jay, that's a very good point. Her own staff doesn't have faith in her. How can anyone have faith in her, really? And trust me, I'm probably going to get kicked off today, so just be prepared. If the show ends mid-show, I will. I guess I'll be over at Rumble or Telegram. We'll figure it out. But because you know what, there are things that just have to be said, and we're going to say them. Some of the other things I want to talk about today, outside of endorsements, I want to talk about campaign dollars. What happens to campaign dollars? We're going to break that down. How much money do they have? Where is that money going to go? And I can assure you, before we even get to that area, I have done my research. I'm not just speaking off the top of my head. I have done my research. And people can, and it's okay if you say, well, that's not true. That's not what I heard. That's okay. I promise you it is the truth. And as we move along over the next coming days, you will see how all of these elements are going to come together. It is truly a very complex situation. And as even Obama said, uncharted waters. There's such a gray area. There's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Kim Cheatle. Is she going to step down today? Very likely. And we want to talk about, I want to talk about a little bit about Yemen as well. For those of you who do or don't know, there's a lot going on over in Yemen between Israel. Yemen over the weekend escalated to what they call their fifth stage of escalation. And they were able to at least get one drone attack into Tel Aviv. So that's an, evolving situation over in Yemen. So I definitely want to get into that. But outside of that, I really want to ask you, and I hope you're asking yourselves, and I hope you're asking Democrats that do they really see Kamala Harris as their president? Can you imagine watching a State of the Union address that is being given by Kamala Harris? Can you imagine her meeting with diplomats, world leaders, drafting up policy? I mean, I think we know that she's a face, a name, like just like the little Wendy's girl is the face of Wendy's. There's no Wendy. Where are we going to go? I don't know, but I want you to take a look at something, and then I want you to tell me, is this your future president?
Once this crusty old jackass finally agrees to head off to an ice cream-filled retirement home in Delaware, we will be left with the most disgusting creature known as the Suckerlotta Cox.
You're welcome.
The Suckerlotta Cox, it appears, was not the first choice of the Democrats to succeed the jackass. However, due to their steadfast commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, they find themselves stuck with this cackling idiot.
We win!
This bird-brained diversity hire was initially brought into the fold as a gesture of virtue signaling and inclusion. Now the Democrats are in a delicate predicament. Should they replace the Suckerlotta Cox with a more qualified candidate, they would undoubtedly face a chorus of accusations concerning racism and sexism.
Oh, for your day of action. And again, 226.
Thus, despite her evident lack of qualifications, intelligence or capability, it seems the Suckerlotta Cox is poised to contend for the highest office in the land.
Indeed.
This narrative, while bearing elements of tragicomedy, serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers and potential pitfalls inherent in DEI policies and the broader phenomenon of woke politics.
I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble for playing that. But that was absolutely hilarious. And the fact is there's so little respect for her. And that's really the reason why I played that video, because unfortunately, that is what a lot of people think. I actually think Kamala Harris is probably an intelligent person. I mean, she was a prosecutor, attorney general in California. I don't think that a lot of people think, well, she slept her way to the top. You can't sleep your way through the bar exam, or I guess maybe you can. I really wonder what the Black community thinks truly about Kamala Harris being a future president outside of her skin color. I mean, I think that it's a fact that she is a descendant of one of the largest slave owners in Jamaica, former slave owners. She is of mixed race, of course. I think it's Indian, African American, not that that matters at all. And more than anything, she was solely responsible for jailing more African Americans in the state of California than any other prosecutor. And those are all things that I think the Black community really needs to look at. Is she really one of you? is she really going to write policies for you? Does she consider herself even to be a Black American? She's married to a white guy. Again, not that that means anything. I don't think it does, but I think it's valid questions because even though it doesn't mean anything to me, I think it's going to mean something to some people. So I think that's something that should be on the minds of those looking to potentially endorse and vote her. Sherry says Indian and Jamaican. You're right, not African American. You are right, Sherry. She is Indian and Jamaican. And Brenda says my Black friends are excited. And do they know her record about she was solely responsible, I kid you not, filling California prisons with Black Americans. That's something that came out a lot when she was selected as VP. And I just don't see how anyone, not only us Americans, people made the video that I just played because they don't respect her. They don't respect her. All of the videos out there of her cackling and acting crazy. And you could say the same thing about Trump, but Trump, the anti-Trump campaign is very different. I don't think anyone doubts his, they might doubt his integrity. I don't think anyone doubts the fact that he has come up with some good policies. He has certainly put himself in the place. Look, he was the only president who ever took a salary that never spent a penny of it. He gave it back. So those are all things to think about. As far as endorsements, Obama has not endorsed Harris. He has not endorsed Harris. He left a statement, speaking of endorsements, he left a statement. Let's see. Well, I'll find it here somewhere. Here's the Clinton statement. We've lived through many ups and downs, but nothing has made us more worried for our country than the threat posed by a second Trump term, of course. He has promised to be a dictator on day one. Now is the time to support Kamala Harris and fight with everything we've got. America's future depends on it. I mean, come on. If if the Clintons are endorsing Harris, what do you think? But as far as the campaign goes, campaign dollars, we're going to get into that. Campaign dollars last night, overnight, the Harris campaign rebranded. It is now called Harris for President. Overnight, Harris raised $50 million. $50 million. Jay says Obama, Pelosi, Jeffries haven't endorsed her, nor Gavin Newsom did. I was kind of surprised by that Newsom did endorse her because I really thought he was somebody who may drop his name into the nominee bucket, but that hasn't happened as of yet. I really think it's going to be Jeffries. And I guess I was going to wait and do this a little bit later, but we can get into it now because I know so many people have questions. Well, what's going to happen? How is this all going to work out? And I've talked about and touched on this a little bit in the past. There are no federal guidelines that state a Democrat, cannot enter into the race before November 5th. Now, each state has different rules, and some of them require signatures. There's different loopholes, in every state, different hoops for people to jump through, but it's all pretty basic. There's nothing really too crazy out there that would keep a new person from joining the race. And I know a lot of people think, well, Harris has it in the bag. I don't think so. I really don't think so. And Brenda says probably because he wants to be VP. I don't think Jeffries will be the VP. I really don't. I don't see that happening at all. I'm not even sure who the VP. I've heard Josh Shapiro, but we will soon find out. But either way, Biden had to endorse Harris. It was the right thing to do. She is the vice president. Now, something you're going to be hearing is that it's possible Republicans could challenge this. Again, it's uncharted territory, it's unprecedented. A lot of times, obviously we're going to look at campaign laws. In the past, there have been different things that have happened, but there's been nothing like that's happened exactly like this. And so Republicans could step in and challenge the nomination. That probably will happen. It could happen. Although I don't think they're too worried about Kamala Harris running against Trump. She has no chance if it was a free and fair election. That's a story for another day, isn't it? However, there probably will be some challenge to Harris's nomination. It's completely unprecedented that a candidate drops out and endorses his VP. And so there's a lot of question is this even possible? Is this something that can be done? And I read a discussion this morning between some various campaign attorneys who stated, and I wish I would have had the video, but it was just a few minutes before I came on, didn't have time to save it. And in this video, there were these campaign attorneys, they were talking and they said, Republicans will likely challenge the nomination. It's very unusual again to place for the presidential nominee to step down, for the vice president to take his place, to take over the campaign money. And there's so much room there for them to disagree and say, no, you cannot do that. You have to select somebody entirely new. So we have to think Obama, Schumer, Pelosi, what's on their minds? Why aren't they endorsing Harris? Are they waiting because they know it's going to be challenged and that Harris won't be able to run? Is it possible that they know another nominee is going to be stepping forward? I think we have to look back and think that nothing with Democrats happens by coincidence. It is all very well planned out. I think most of us know that. When Biden decided to, or when they decided, I should say, Biden could debate Trump, that was a situation that they had planned out. There is no way that Biden just happened to say, okay, I would like to debate Trump. I think I'm fit to do that. Democrats knew that he was not fit to debate Trump. I mean, there's no way. And Trump is a great debater. And any debate, he would falter. And I think they knew and planned for America to see his weaknesses. They've done such a great job concealing all of his issues, his cognitive abilities. So you can't tell me that all of a sudden they bring him out into a debate stage and push him out there and say, okay, Joe, go for it. Even with an earpiece, even with practice, there's no way he would be competent enough to be able to debate Trump. And we all saw that. And they knew that was going to happen. So this is all a plan and process. It is all part of their plan. So being that it's all part of their plan, being that, what do they have in store next? You can't tell me that Obama, Schumer, Pelosi don't have the next step already planned out. So is that step going to be that they know Republicans are going to challenge Harris's nomination? Is it that they know someone is going to come from the wings, somebody waiting in the wings, and now all of a sudden they're going to be on the nomination? And again, anyone, absolutely anyone right now, it is open game, can jump in, throw their name in the basket, and attend an open convention, because that's what it's going to be, for the DNC on August 19th through the 22nd. And at that time, when that time comes around, and provided that that nominee has all of the signatures they need, they jump through all the hoops they needed to jump through. When they get to the convention, then we have bound delegates and we have your delegates who are not bound. Obviously to what was Biden, now potentially to Harris. Well, those delegates do not have to nominate Harris. They can nominate anyone they want. You've heard the term many times already. They have to vote with their good conscience. Well, what does their good conscience tell them? Does it tell them that Harris is going to be the best person for the job? Does it tell them that, let's say, Hakeem Jeffries, or let's say Gavin Newsom, whoever puts their name into the ring, they can vote for anyone they want. And so I don't want anyone to think, well, these delegates are coming to the convention, they're bound to Harris, because they absolutely 100% are not. Now, of course, every state is different. There may be a couple of states out there where their bound delegates have no choice. But for the most part, the majority of states will allow their delegates to vote in any nominee. So that's very likely going to happen. Jay says reports are Joe Manchin switching back to Democrat to. It's possible, and I think one of the things we have to think about, let's see, Jay, no one else is saying this, do stop it. They wanted him gone. That's why they held a debate. Of course they wanted him gone. I think we always saw that. Harris has 512 delegates already. Doesn't mean anything. No one's bound to Harris. Nothing is going to take place until the convention. None of that matters right now. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and then. And just because he stepped down because of health issues, that absolutely does not mean that Republicans cannot go forward and try to contest it. That can certainly happen. So there's a lot of things that will play out. And as of last night, as a matter of fact, with delegates, let's see, and endorsements. Now, of course, a lot has probably changed overnight. We have, let's see, 263 congressional Democrats, 23 Democratic governors. As of late last night, 173 endorsed Harris, 113 did not. And we've already talked about some of the folks that did not endorse, and there's certainly a reason why. And we've got to start keeping that in mind as well. Now, as far as the campaign donations, that I know that's on a lot of people's mind. Campaign donations, as of right now, let's see here. Oh, as we know, Harris raised $50 million overnight. That's a good chunk of money, but nothing compared to what she needs. That's for sure. So in the account right now, Democrats have $240 million in their in their account for the DNC. Now, as far as what Joe Biden was allotted, that was $96 million. That is what was given to Joe Biden out of that $240 million. So of that $96 million, Harris right now today has access to that money. And I can guarantee you she is going to use it to her best million in overnight. She can use that $96 million right now. She does not have access to the remainder of the $240 million. What will happen is, let's say another nominee puts in the ring. Let's just say that Harris decides to step back because she can see that, okay, Harris is smart enough to know that if Obama, Schumer, Pelosi, if those three endorse another candidate, she's done. And so let's just say she steps back. This is where things get a little complicated. So it's a little bit harder to follow. If a person comes in, let's say a governor throws their name, let's say J.B. Pritzker or Gavin Newsom, if one of those two enters the race, if they become, let's say, the nominee, they will not have access to this $96 million if Harris steps out. Now, as long as Harris is in the race, that's her $96 million, unless there's a nominee. J.B. Pritzker comes in and he is the nominee. He has to start from scratch. He has zero money in his bank for his campaign. He has to start all over again with nothing. Now, the Amalgamated Bank is the bank the DNC uses. The Amalgamated Bank will loan a candidate money. And in the past, it's been about $20 million, but that doesn't mean that they cannot loan someone a lot more money than that just to kind of get the campaign off the ground. So that's how this would go if it were a governor, let's say, who jumps in, or someone that's not a senator or a member of the House. So if they would start out with nothing, they would have to build it up. They could get a loan. They'd have to raise campaign funds. However, let's say that a governor, or I'm sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. Let's say a senator, a member of the House, is the nominee. If it's a senator or a member of the House, they do have access to that $96 million. Let's say they receive the nomination, Harris is out. That money goes into an election committee fund, and then that fund can be accessed, but only if the is a member of the House. They will access to that. That's something to keep in mind. And then Cruz says until they rewrite. And that's something else that I was going to throw in the mix. Everything we're talking about right now, all of it, can all be changed. Because guess what? Again, and I will say this probably every day I have the show, the DNC is a private organization. And they can do whatever they want with their bylaws. They can rewrite them. We saw that with Bernie Sanders. They can rewrite those bylaws. So let's not worry about them. When it comes down to the election, committees, what happens with them? Well, guess what? They can amend laws just as easily, because this is an unprecedented situation. As Obama said, uncharted waters. So don't think that the election committee cannot go through and rewrite a new law, amend one of their bylaws to make sure that a new nominee takes place. Because I can promise you with everything I have that Obama, Pelosi and Schumer, they know that something is going on. What that is, I absolutely do not know. So I want to go back and look at, let's see here. Oh, and speaking of campaign money, by the way, Biden in 2020, he had, let's see here, $285 million that he spent. Or Trump had $285 million. I'm getting all mixed up. Sorry. I guess I need to make sure my notes are a little bit more organized for future shows. So the last year in 2020, Biden campaign spent over $1 billion in 2020. And as of June, Trump has 285 million. And that number has gone up significantly since the attempted assassination. So as of right now, I do not know how much money Trump has in the bank. He had 285 million in June, and that's probably gone up significantly. Now, as far as endorsements, I have a list of Harris endorsements here. Who is on her list of endorsements? Some people, let's look at what they consider notable individuals. Some of the people, and there's a list. There's a very long list of endorsements here. The actor, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bernice King, who is of course the daughter of Martin Luther King, Martin Luther III, John Legend, Mandy Moore, Robert De Niro, Annie Potts, Aaron Sorkin, Alex Soros. Does that surprise anyone? It might actually surprise you, since Obama hasn't thrown his name in the ring yet. Kerry Washington. There are so many. Now, as far as folks that actually do matter, not just the folks that think they matter, I haven't seen George and Clooney's name on that list. Let's see here. She has received a lot of nominations, of course. We obviously know Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Pete Buttigieg, whatever his name is. Let's see, Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Julian Castro. Let's see, Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. She's a senator. Lots of senators. Sherrod Brown. Try to pick out the names that we would probably actually know. And of course, the AOC and her little group of fans, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar. There's a lot of different names here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but again, it's the names that are missing are the most important names. Brenda says, well, all of those Hollywood endorsements just tell you what a joke she is. Kevin, the Democrats do not follow laws. They will do whatever they want to do. They absolutely will do whatever they want to do. And that's why it's so hard to talk about all of this and so hard to get everything straight, because they will change everything. They will amend laws, they will change laws, they will omit laws, they will do anything they can do to make sure the right person is in place. And I'm probably going to spend a lot of time wondering, what is Obama and Pelosi up to? What do they know that we don't know? Clearly, there is something going on that we don't know about. So that's something to get into as well. Now, there's a lot of speculation, again, that Josh Shapiro will be the VP pick. I don't know if I even have any specific names of who I think that person could be. I thought a lot about it, but either way, let's say it's Josh Shapiro. Let's say it's Gavin Newsom. Let's say it's Hakeem Jeffries as the VP. Does any of that really matter? Can you actually look at Harris again and think this is my president, regardless of who the VP is? I really wonder, a lot of these special interest groups, what is it that they see in Harris? Why do they feel like she is the person that is able to run this country? I will never understand it. Jay said the Democratic bench is weak. Yes, it is. I don't know what to think. I haven't seen Lindsey Graham's name on the list as of yet. For how he feels about Harris. I'll be very curious. Something that I saw over the weekend was, Tucker Carlson, who I'm a big fan of Tucker Carlson, Lindsey Graham, and how he is against Christianity. And I was kind of surprised by that. So I'm going to play that video clip here for you in a few moments. But I was trying to go through the list last night of Republicans and their views of Harris and what they thought about her being the the potential presidential nominee. This was before Biden stepped down. And I saw a lot of different comments, but I really didn't see anything too crazy out there. But I was really surprised when I came across Tucker's interview. And I'm going to show this to you because I'm really curious of your thoughts. Lindsey Graham is not one of my favorite people by far. He was in support of sending money over to Ukraine. He's been in support of a lot of policies that I feel are hurtful to our country, hurtful to us, the people. So I thought this was really interesting interview here. Let's see.
I mean, we're the same age, roughly. I'm 2 years younger than you are. And I have a very similar perspective. I've been passionately patriotic my whole life. I love America. I'm never leaving. I'm from here. But I too see the government, the State Department, the Pentagon to some extent, as forces of disorder and anti-Christian aggression around the world. And it breaks my heart. It's bewildering. It's shocking. I can't believe I'm watching this. And it makes me deeply, deeply sad. And I look at men, and I use that word loosely, like Lindsey Graham, who are making this possible, cheerleading it. And I wonder, what is that? And I don't think there's anything political about this. I think it can only be explained in theological terms. I think it's evil. Lindsey Graham is a force against Christianity. Okay, that's just a fact. Yep. And, I don't know how that happened. I have some theories about it, actually, that seem pretty obvious, but I don't know. But all I can do is observe it. And the only thing I think the rest of us can do to help make it a little better is describe it accurately. Just be honest about what we're seeing here. Let's stop lying. And I do think that saying true things out loud, the truth itself, is the answer. That's kind of all you can do is just be as honest as you possibly can in describing what you're seeing and refuse to repeat any of the lies. And as Solzhenitsyn apparently once said, one man telling the truth can bring down tyranny. And I think that's probably not an overstatement. I think that's absolutely true.
Curious of your thoughts. I really do wonder the direction of our country. Where are we going? Ask yourself that every day. I know I ask myself that every day. Who is really on our side? Who is really against us? They may have the term Republican before their name. They might have that big R. They really what we care about. And I think that we've been recently have made us all question who really is out. I think as we move forward and towards the DNC convention, I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to see who really steps up to the plate. I know that people have rallied behind. I think a lot of that, though, is to save face. I don't think for 1 minute the RNC wants Donald Trump to be their nominee. I really don't. I think that they feel they have no choice because they know that we, the majority, certainly the majority in the Republican voters, we want Donald Trump. Who else really is there? Who else? Really kind of a scary thought if you really think about it. Who else? For me personally, it would be no one. There is absolutely looking as should be not there yet. We have a way to go, as I'm sure most of you know. I think the Democrats, we have people like Lindsey Graham, who I really do think undermine Trump at every. We have so many, obviously McConnell, there's just so many of them. I love caucus. In the right level of tea. I really absolutely do. Going out a lot. Well, I fully be probably deleted today. I don't think there's anything going on. Equipment, everything I'm using is the same. Does that stairs on the way? Well, one way or the other, we'll work it out. I know I shouldn't have played that. Probably so is frozen. Something is going on. Well, hopefully, part I think that we all collect. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll find out how quickly they end the stream. I expect it to be soon, so I'll try to get in as much as I can. I Megan learn about Vance, the more I like him. Listen, I'm not trust any. I will set them as of right now. But the rest, I don't. I think that they have the court. Again, glitching also, and I'll probably have all of me, and I will take a look at Karen. I'm going to is difficult. So many thought I should probably just get and get my technology in order. All of the streaming, had phone calls, and then tackle Rumble. So eventually we'll be there. I am on Telegram, and I am on Rumble. Probably smoke signal soon. We'll see what happens. If the feed goes down, I have another channel, and I will redirect there. I'll let everyone know. It's bound to happen because we know these platforms are really unfortunate. I posted a photo of Trump, the same photo across the country on national media. He held his fist up, and you can. Well, I posted that immediately after I saw it. The very first day, the day of the assassination. I was monitoring times. He deleted their check said manipulate. I saw the man photo, and he took is exactly on Facebook. Said nope. To is to say to see that what's his Zuckerberg actually bad Trump day in the air after. So can any of you, I don't know if you can still hear me, still streaming. I'm not sure. Let's see here. No one's answering me. I will have to ask. So anyway, as you guys know, today is my 4th episode. I'm still working out the kinks. You know, I have a different background, and eventually I'll have that put up. I don't know what is going on with my sound. Everything looks fine on my end. I don't know why my sound is bad. Says she can hear me. I don't know why it would be going in and out, but I apologize, and I, thank everyone for their patience. I guess I'm going to have to look into my technical issues and see what is going on. I don't know why it would be going out, because everything here is connected, everything is on, everything looks fine. I don't know of any reason why things would be going out outside of, Charlie says it's better on YouTube. Well, we'll get technical stuff and not Facebook trying to oust me, but we'll find out. Anyway, sorry. I know that you guys have been very patient with me and for me trying to get my technical issues worked out. So I'm going to try to get through things. If you cannot, Jay says maybe a lag issue. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew. So I will carry on and try to get through some of these topics. And if they don't work out, we just keep doing that. Different things before. Hopefully my sound's okay. Sometimes away out of hand. Talk about Kim Cheatle. We'll find out. But I think you guys at the RNC and really released her out of the building. So take a look at the video. This isn't playing on my other